Hi, I'm Korinne from Korinne Carpino Art, and today I'm going to show you how to make a mixed media journal cover, and we're going to use the Grafix Mixed Media Journal products. So let's get started. The Grafix Mixed Media Journals come in two sizes, 6x9 and 6x6, and they have 12 sheets of material in there. So we're going to see they all have 2 sheets of this clear Duralar, 2 sheets of matte Duralar, 2 sheets of the wet media Duralar, 2 sheets of the opaque white Durabright, and 2 sheets of the opaque black Durabright, and these chipboard covers. We're going to use the 6x6 journal today, and we're going to paint on the chipboard covers. And I'm going to be using some collage materials. I have this napkin with butterflies that's kind of an inspiration, and I've gone through my collage fodder and just picked out some materials I want to use. Some of these papers, all of these papers, I've actually made myself on a gel plate. And so just looking at the different colors, these blues and a little bit of green, I'm going to use that for one cover. And then I've got this other butterflies that I chose, and looking for just some blues and yellows and golds that go along with that. So we'll be using those papers in our covers. The first thing I'm going to do is gesso these covers with some just acrylic gesso, because I want the background to be white. And the chipboard cover takes the gesso very nicely. The covers really don't warp or bend. And so we'll just get these all covered with the gesso, and then we'll be able to start our collage. Here I've decided for one cover that this butterfly is going to be my inspiration and kind of my focal point. And now I'm just looking for some papers that pick up the colors in that piece. And so I'm just tearing these papers. I like these little dots, so we'll use some of those. I'm just going to move these pieces around the cover as I decide where they're going to go. I like this writing, and so I like to tear the paper versus cut it whenever I can. The torn edges just kind of disappear when collaging the materials down. So there's a little pattern in this little piece that I like. And I'll just move the pieces around until I find a pleasing composition. Still trying to find another place I can use that little piece. And I think I'll put it under the music. So now that I have my sense of where I'm going, I can use 2 different types of medium. I have matte gel medium. It's a Liquitex product, so you can use any brand. And I'm just going to put it on the back of the paper, and then on the chipboard cover, and then on the front of the paper. And I'll do this with each piece, and this will be the start of our composition. And after I get all of these pieces down, we'll set this cover aside, let it dry, and move on to the next cover. So now I'm gathering additional pieces here for this cover. It's going to be the back cover. And again, I'll arrange them in a pleasing composition to start. And then I will adhere all of those to the chipboard with the Liquitex matte gel medium. So I think I've used most of the paper that there's a piece. I was looking to use that piece with the little circles on it. And then once again, I will adhere the paper to the chipboard with the Liquitex matte gel, starting from the middle of each sheet, and I kind of brush outwards to the edges so nothing wrinkles. Also being mindful of the layering that I need to do with these papers to get them into that composition that I had originally laid out. Now that these are done and drying, I'm going to prepare some paint. I'm using Nova Color and Golden paints. I'm going to use an ultramarine, a cobalt blue, a little bit of phthalo blue green shade, and some titanium white and some gesso to start painting in the covers. So I'm just getting all of that paint out and ready. And I'm going to start with the cobalt blue. And we're just getting a base layer of paint down now. And a little bit of the ultramarine. So the ultramarine is transparent, so just have to be mindful of that as we're working with it. And I'm going to be painting both at the same time while I have my paints out. Here I'm mixing a little bit or blending a little bit of the white paint in with the blue to lighten up that shade a little bit. And I'm first going to go around the elements that I put down, and then we'll decide what's actually going to show and what we're going to hide and how they're going to blend in. I do know that one butterfly on the left-hand panel I do want to preserve. And on the right-hand panel I want to preserve the little word note. But the rest of it, as I work intuitively, may or may not stay showing in the final covers. I've decided to knock back some of this writing, my other elements, and so I'm just using a little bit of gesso just to knock these back for now. And I'm actually going to add a little bit of blue, but some of my words still show through. And I'll just scratch some of that blue in with the gesso. Just trying to make sure that I have values of light and dark in my covers. And I've decided to do the same thing with this other cover, just adding that gesso. And these will transform quite a bit as we go along and continue to add our layers. So after I finish this layer, I'm going to go take a look through my stencils, and we'll put the next layer on using stencils and the same color paint. So here I have some stencils that has some text on it. I'm using a little dauber with my paint, and I'm just going through, not using the entire stencil, but parts of the stencil, and trying to put dark over light or light over dark so that it stands out a little bit. And we get a nice additional layer. I'll come in with a different stencil next. I think I'll use this. It's almost like a vintage scroll. And I'll get some of this on in a lighter blue color. And I'll do it on both covers to be consistent. So just mixing some of that cobalt with some white. And let's try adding it on this cover as well. Now I'm using a little bit darker color and a little bit lighter, depending on the area that I'm putting on, so it shows up against the background. A few flowers. And I'll continue to layer with paint and a variety of stencils. Okay, my paint is almost dry. As soon as it dries, I'm going to come back in. You see I have some gold paint. And I'm just going to come back in with a little bit of gold, a clean sponge dauber. And I like the circles that are in the, or the dots that are in the right-hand one. And so I'm going to add some more of those gold dots with this stencil. Around the focal point. And I'll do the same thing on this cover. I'm going to add a little bit of dark using a Stabilo all pencil and some, you can see I added some water to that with my brush and just softening it up. And a few of my crayons, these are the Neo Color crayons in the same color palette. Just add a few dots here and there, some line work, just a little bit of mark making. And I have a white one too, outlining a flower, making some more marks. So with a Posca pen, this is just an acrylic paint pen, just making a little bit of writing on here, just kind of scribbly, a few messages that are for me that I know are in there. And while I have that pen out, I thought maybe I'd do a few dots here and there. And so adding that. And I'll do the same thing on the back cover to be consistent. So now that I look at where I am, I'm going to actually go back and add some gesso and start to knock a little bit of things back. It's very busy. I know I want to add a butterfly to the cover that's on the left that you can see. And this butterfly on the one that I'm working on now is just not showing up enough for me. So first I'm going to add a couple layers of gesso and see where that goes. And then I'll decide after that where the rest of it's going. And so that butterfly is starting to emerge. And I've decided I want some lighter passages here in the artwork, just kind of leading down to that butterfly area and enhancing it a little. And just kind of pushing back the background a bit. Okay, so I know I want to add this butterfly and the background's dark in some areas. So I'm going to come over this with some gesso and just lighten these areas up, preserving my little word note that was important to me from the beginning. And that butterfly is a piece of napkin. And so it's going to meld into the background when I adhere it with the Liquitex matte gel, and so that's why I wanted to just lighten that up. So coming back, I've decided this butterfly, it's not light enough around it. And I'm putting a little bit more gesso down, a little bit heavier coat this time. And I'm using an angle brush, which helps me get around that butterfly. We probably all have our favorite brushes. So I've decided to bring out this butterfly even more, and I'm using a gold Posca pen to just outline the butterfly with. I'm going to let that dry a little. Coming back in with a fine point Posca pen and just going over the lines in the butterfly. Then I'll let that dry after I'm done here, and we'll go on to decoupaging our butterfly onto our other journal cover. So because the napkin is so thin, I'm not going to try to paint the back of it with the matte gel. And I have my little butterfly, my matte gel, and here it is. I'm going to just adhere it on, starting from the middle and working towards the outside so that I don't wrinkle the napkin. I'm going to let that dry. And while I do, you can see I'm back here with that butterfly again. This time with a micron pen and just outlining it a little bit more, making the edges a little softer. And so now this butterfly is really the center of attention on this cover. Okay, just a little bit of work. I lost some of my writing, so I'm going to come back again. It really sunk into the paint and you can't see it. So I'm going to put my messages to me back on the cover, and I'm going to do it again on the back cover. And then I want to outline this little word note. And unfortunately, you can see just how fragile that napkin is. I lost a little bit of that butterfly, and I'm not going to try to get it back. So I'm going to wait for these to dry very well, and then we'll assemble. So to assemble the journal, we're going to use these handy little discs that come with it. And it is easiest to assemble this one or several pages at a time. So I'm just going to turn my covers over. There we go. The covers of my journal are all done. I'm going to start with the back cover, and you simply slide these discs into the slots. So I'll just take a moment and get all of these in. I can have an opportunity later to take this apart again and paint the inside covers of those chipboards as well. And now I'm going to take the paper that goes in the journal. I find it easiest to put these in about 1 or 2 sheets at a time. And I just slip them over these discs. They go in very, very easy. And we'll just grab a few sheets at a time. I can take these out later, I can paint on them, or I can, because this is a stay flat book, I can paint right in the book if I desire. And I've decided I'm going to take these 2 heavy clear Duralar sheets and just use them, since I haven't varnished my covers yet, just use it to protect my covers. Now I have a lot of paint, and don't forget I have a piece of collage paper there too, so the cover fits pretty snug. And I'll just put this pretty clear Duralar right over it. I can even put a message on that later if I want. And I'll snap one of these right in on the back. And then, so here's my little journal, and here's all of my pages in here, ready for me to work on. So thanks for joining me today to learn how to use the Grafix Mixed Media Journal and create a sweet cover.